it's going to be like half-inch plywood.
Oh, did you just go? We're live now?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
sneaky son of a gun.
Sneaky son of a gun.
Well, I mean, we're talking anyway, so
I know, man. I know. Listen, actually, that's a great idea. We could. I don't know, Chris. Do you have an intro prepared for this week?
Oh, God damn it.
I mean, we missed you last week, so
You did. You did miss me last week. Well, I'm Chris with Cowdog Craftworks, and as always, I'm joined by Arturo, the Chop Master, and PJ from the Evolution of Tables.
Yes, you are.
We are Ask Me About My Wood. So
ask us about our wood. It should be.
Oh,
yeah. Ooh.
That's true. We're not just talking about my wood. I mean, I know I'm a child and all, but
we cross the streams on a weekly basis.
Yeah, that we do. And you're never supposed to cross the streams according to Ghostbusters lore.
Ghostbusters, yeah. Oh man.
Oh God. True, fellas, let's start with Arturo. What you got going on?
The same thing almost that PJ had going on this week.
Hemorrhoids?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, we got that the office done for the hair circus streaks. That came out really nice.
Yes, it did.
That came out really, really nice. A really nice touch to that place. I'll give them that.
So when you say doing the office for, what does that entail?
Explain yourself, damn it.
So I guess well, it's more PJ. I think I feel more comfortable with PJ saying the story because it's his client, not mine.
Right. Well, I partnered up with the Chop Master over here to install some floating shelves and a bracketed desk, basically just a big shelf as a desk.
Double wrap desk.
Yes, it was like an L-shaped desk along.
How many C's were the floating shelves?
The floating shelves were 2 C's.
Yeah,
and the desk itself was like 1.5 C's. Actually the shelf's pretty thick, man. I would give them 2.5 C's.
Yeah, because they're 3 inches thick. They're 3 inches thick, so that should be a 2.5 C.
Above average thickness, as the kids say.
Above average thickness, yeah. Like too thick, or as they'd say, dumb thick. That's the popular term these days. But anyway, method of construction was beveled cherry veneered plywood, which is the reason I reached out to Arturo in the first place to source this plywood. He's got a guy for everything, pretty much. So we got some really nice cherry veneered plywood, nice
natural wood too.
Natural, well, wood naturally occurs in
nature.
No,
because he had the option of the sequenced, man-made version
of it. Also natural.
Yeah, but it's like popular.
I know, man. But no, it's really good looking stuff. Nice cathedral grain, flat on veneer. So we made basically boxes. Same thing, same method of construction as Chris and I did with the faux beams at the warehouse to mount on the wall. And then we just scabbed some brackets on the wall, got them nice and level, scabbed some brackets, slipped the boxes over the brackets, and that's it. Yeah. Then we did a desk. We had some brackets made of plywood, also some black oak veneered plywood, and put the desk together. Man, it really, I actually edged the desk with Dade County pine as a nice little touch. I just had some Dade County pine laying around.
The PJ touch.
It's the PJ touch, man. I love that Dade County pine. And I did the same thing that I did with Dusko's table, the bottom of Dusko's tables last week. Chamfered the edge with the same little block plane. That's not very sharp, but for whatever reason, man, the sappiness of that Dade pine, it's so satisfying when you put a chamfer on the edge of that Dade pine. It sounds so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a 2-day install, and the only reason it took 2 days is because we wanted to be very precise about the desk because it fit into a cove, and that cove was not even close to square. No, so we put a piece of plywood in there. We, instead of making a template, which would be the normal way of doing it, we just kind of shoved the piece of plywood in there, took some measurements, took it out in and out a couple times, made some cuts, and really snuck up on the fit. And it was, luckily after, I think it was like the third time that we put it in, it actually fit pretty snug, just kind of eyeballing everything. And it worked out, man. It really worked out. No real hiccups except for the potential gas pipe that we drilled into. But
yeah, we heard a pipe ding when we were looking for the studs, and that was
too soon, fellas. Too soon.
I know, man. I know, right? Like Plantation, now Fort Lauderdale, gas explosion.
That was a little
God.
scary, but luckily it wasn't really anything.
Yeah, no.
So,
Well, at least I'm just going to say that so I can sleep at night.
I saw you were drawing some really aggressive pencil lines too.
Oh, dude, yeah, yeah. I was channeling my inner Chris, and just like, actually, after I did that, I really gouged in the pencil line into the drywall just to really, really put it in there and make sure that I could see it. And then I'm like, damn, I hope we're measured right, because I'm just being stupid and acting like, like making fun of Chris right now. Like, oh my God, what if we put it in the wrong place and we actually see it? You have to come back and paint the whole wall.
Well, it worked. Chris's method worked out because I marked where the cedar, like front-facing cedar, should end, and that thing, when you did it, that we did the miter and all that, and we put that side little piece.
Yeah.
Where I wrote cedar and like super thick. That worked out great.
Yeah, it worked out great, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that worked out.
Super thick is the way to go, man. Thickness to the max.
Yeah, man. So we got that done this week, which is great. I mean, yesterday was like, we were there for 45. We were there for even an hour.
We were there talking to them the same amount of time that it took. Yeah. So all the girls in the salon are like, oh my God, show us this, show us that. They want to talk and say this is so great and take pictures and blah blah blah. So.
And you're like, if I show you this thing, then you're going to have to call the cops, and I'm going to have to go to jail. So
exactly.
Like you can't say, oh, yeah, show me your wood, and then I'm like, I get all uncomfortable, and I have to go and start sweating profusely.
Oh man. Do they have a shower there? At least you could take a cold shower. I mean,
no, zero shower. Well, maybe like the
sink where they shampoo.
I think I could cool off over there.
Just take a bird bath.
Yeah, just take a little wiggle in there. Oh God.
Yeah, so we got that done.
Got that done, man. Yeah,
that was awesome. That felt really good to get that done, and
sure did.
Nice accomplishments to get that done. Came out great. I got the slab that I picked up from PJ to put on a countertop, little bar countertop area where they eat. That's in their kitchen? That's a friend of yours, kind of? Yeah. So it's actually a friend of a friend. So a friend of mine, I provide smaller slabs for him. Smaller stuff, and he does actually his sushi and stuff like that on them. He puts it on there and serves them like that. Really nice. He has like a really nice touch with the food and the color of the wood and stuff. Yeah. So his friend is the one he contacted me. He was like, hey, I need this done. I know you do work for this guy. Can you help me out? Sure. I'm like, yeah, of course. And that's when I contacted you to get that slab. So it actually goes in they have a small kitchen, and the little one is singing right next to me. Juliet, you're too loud.
Good morning, Juliet.
Juliet, come here and say hi real quick. Remember, you didn't say hi last week, so
it's a family show, man. Come on, man.
Yeah. Say hi.
Morning. Hi.
Go.
All right, get out of here, kid. Like,
get out of here. She's sitting right here next to the stairs.
Oh,
because I'm like the only one awake. Everybody else is asleep. So so that goes in a little kitchen. So it's just him and his wife, and then they can't really fit that much, so might as well use what they got.
Sure. Yeah. From the picture you sent me, it looked like a little it's a bar. Obviously, it's going to be bar height, but it's about 3 feet long. Just kind of enough for maybe 2 people. You want to put like 2 benches. Two stools in front of it, something like that.
Right. So he already has 2 stools, and then all he did was make the actual piece itself wider. Okay. So he can fit. He uses the other side as a shelf. Yeah. So to make it a little bit more spacious, because he could get you
like we're doing at Chipmunk. We're putting in a bar. It's like an 8-inch wide piece of steel, and then I want to extend it out to 32 inches.
Oh, geez.
And make a bar. 34.
Yeah.
Sorry. My heart's stuck on 32, man.
Well, yesterday you were saying 36, so I mean, we're all over the place.
Yeah, my seats are all over the place.
You have to get PJ to text you the dimensions, and then he'll remember.
I'll never forget.
He actually did text me the dimensions, but he texted me. So these guys, as much as I love them, I mean, they are really what do you call it? Fickle as far as like dimensions, and they're very flexible, which has been nice, right? Like, so
sure.
We'll go in sometimes and they'll be like, yeah, just don't do that thing. And we're like, awesome. That's great. But then other times they'll give us like 4 different dimensions in the span of 20 minutes. And I'm like, what do you want? Give it.
I know how you guys feel, because I had to, that table that we took apart, that I delivered in the beginning of the week something like that last weekend.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, you were talking about it last time, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I talked to you about it yesterday, but we cut it in half, right? And I finished it, and now they wanted it bigger, and it was like, really, man? And now I went over there to pick up my checks, and like they're changing it up on me already again. And I'm like, okay, no,
really?
I gotta get out of here.
After you finish, they
use it. It made slushies and everything on it.
Okay, cool. Well, what's wrong with it?
I don't know. They just wanted to fit like in the little area. I'm like, dude, you're good, bro. Let's get out of here with that.
You know what was funny was like so many episodes that we've done in this podcast now. I think it's, what episode is this? 11?
11, man. Yeah, this is lucky number 11.
And Arturo's been talking about this job, I want to say, for about 3 weeks. 3 podcasts.
3 weeks.
Let me tell you. So last week was the first time I realized what brewery this was actually for, and I realized that I've actually been there before. It's actually a really cool place. It's a nice place. Like I've gotten food there at the food trucks outside.
Yeah, the food truck is always outside the Mexican, like healthy Mexican food place outside, which is great. It's actually really good food. But they're very finicky. It's too many people,
too many cooks in the kitchen kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's what happens. Like he's the owner, but then since they're like have investors and stuff like that, there's people higher than him, like on the totem pole, calling like those detailed shots.
Yeah, but it's got to be the people in the trenches that call those shots, man. Like the people that use it every day, the guy that's there. Like
I agree. I mean, for what it is, the slushie machine fit perfect.
Okay.
And it looks great in that little area, and they're super excited for it. So, they're fine, dude. He was telling me, he was like, man, it's like I hate going back and forth with you and, making your life a little difficult. From what we said at first, it's just there's people that, higher than me that say, this and that.
Oh, yeah. Then that's when you tell them, all right, listen, get those, whoever they are, on the phone, or tell whoever they are to draw a freaking dimensional drawing. Yeah. A measured drawing, and I'll do it. Just tell me point me in the right direction. Exactly. I've said it before. Point me in the right direction, and I'll go 100 miles an hour for you.
Exactly. Like obviously, I can make good things for you. So
sure.
Just tell me what it is, and we'll get this thing done. And I mean, the other tables have been great. They have 2 like these giant, like 5-gallon water tanks sitting, so you can have fresh water on 2 of the tables.
Nice. Home Depot buckets?
No. They're like big glass bowls type of thing. Really cool. But whatever, they always have water because it's hot in Miami.
Yes.
So, they always have water there. And then the other table was for their crawler machine. So they bring it out and they'll like seal the cans or whatever.
With that machine. Growler.
Yeah.
I thought you said crowler.
Crowler.
It's actually.
And then I was thinking, it's the can growler thing.
Yeah, crawler.
That is a crowler.
It's not a growler.
I was about to make fun of you for the next 10 minutes.
Thanks, buddy. But I've heard the term growler more than crawler.
Yeah, because the can thing is kind of new.
Right.
Yeah, a few places have started that. Tarpon River Brewing in Fort Lauderdale does that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so
you make your own cans?
So they have a little can press. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, but the cans are not like regular like Budweiser cans. These are like Mac Daddy.
They're like the 32 ounces.
Yeah.
The big Foster's cans that we had at Workbench Con?
Yes. Oh, man, you just took me back, man. I forgot about that. That was like after the bars closed. We just went to the like lobby refrigerator and got those. That's awesome.
Let me start with this. So PJ shows up with a fucking 32-ounce can of Foster's.
And a sandwich.
Well, no, did you have a sandwich?
I bought 2 sandwiches, one for you.
That's right. And
he's a caring friend. He's a caring friend.
Man.
Like, first off, he gives me the sandwich, and I'm like, I love you. And then he's about to talk, and I'm like, before you say another word, you need to tell me where you got that can from, because I had no idea. Like it was 2 a.m. and I wanted to keep going. So, next thing you know, like PJ and I became the guys that had like the super large beers like down in the lobby, and everybody's looking at us like we're fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I even
get those.
I even offered Benueta some of my sandwich too.
Who's that? Who's that lady? God, I followed her for a while and then unfollowed her because the stories were too much. Jesus, she's an artist, whatever. But she it was one of those 2 a.m. situations, and I sat down with the sandwich. Chris had a sandwich. She was all fired up about this whatever Italian sub that it was, and she grabbed it from me and took a huge bite and gave it back to me. I'm like, we don't know each other that well, but whatever. It's all right. I'm still hungry. I'm not gonna rip a piece of this off and throw it away. So I'll just go ahead and eat it.
I actually went and bought another. What is he even showing us?
What is this? Alka-Seltzer?
I didn't want to interrupt you guys, but
oh god,
look,
you can.
Yeah. Look at this thing.
Oh, he's showing us the crawler machine.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
Yeah, dude. So they have. That's
so
what they have.
I could can tuna fish and stuff.
You see
with
that
machine, right?
And it's huge.
Whatever TF you want.
Whatever you want.
This thing is like 5 feet tall. This thing is tall.
Wow.
And it's only a 10-inch by 7-inch base.
So it's top heavy, big time. You got to make
you know what? No, I did the.
Or is there more than one on the table?
No. So I made a 12 by 12 poplar top with 4 Douglas fir posts as the bottom.
That's still top heavy, dude.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't as much as I would think it was. And it's not really, you have to put some force to actually tip it over. Even when you move it, when you're moving it out, it's in a little corner. When you're moving it out to the center to work on it, it won't fall over.
Okay.
You have to intentionally push it because the motor's on top, obviously.
Sure.
And it is. You would think it's super top heavy, but when I carried it, the motor doesn't weigh that much, and the frame itself doesn't weigh anything.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's all aluminum and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. To my surprise, I mean, I was thinking okay, the motor's gonna be the heaviest part, and it is, but it's not as heavy as you would think by the looks of it. So then I mounted it to that guy, and even moving it, it won't tip over or anything. You have to intentionally come and shove it, and even in the middle, if you push it, it won't do anything. It has to be on the top to intentionally push it off, and then it has casters, so you can move it in and out and lock it in place. Pretty cool stuff.
I'm gonna lock you in place.
I know you will. I know. Locked up in an office for a couple of days with you.
Oh yeah, that was fun, man. That was fun. All farts aside, it was fun. Oh man, I felt terrible one time. One had just been released, and then the girl walked in. The owner walked in, and I was like, oh man, I hope. Damn it! The incense can only cover so much. And by the way, we did the half the install 2 days ago, the floating shelves part, and we come in yesterday, and she was burning incense all over this nicely finished, perfectly finished cherry plywood, burning incense on it, and I'm like,
on top of it. And I'm like, oh my god, the finish.
So kind of rid it of your anus at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we put that piece of glass spanning the 2 floating shelves, which has gotten a lot of attention actually on the IGs. A lot of, not a lot, maybe 2 people actually. Yes, specifically, exactly 2 people have asked me about saying, "Hey, that's a great idea. I'm gonna try and use that." One of which was the pneumatic addict, Alicia. She was really fond of that glass,
into that?
the glass bridge across the 2 floating shelves. Which it's a cool idea. I've never really seen it before until it was in my head.
It worked out great.
Yeah, it worked out great, and it's a good. Not only does it let the light come through to the work desk, it's also a really good spot. Now, if she wants to burn incense, I'd rather her burn incense on glass than cherry plywood.
Yeah,
with
just having ash smoldering all over your thing.
That varnish won't look pretty.
Yeah,
a week or 2 if she keeps doing that.
Whatever, it's fine. It's her office, man. Let her do what she wants.
It's her problem now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you didn't mention the cedar that we did on the shelves. We put the cedar fronts.
Oh yeah, the cedar. Okay, yeah, that's right. The fronts of all those faux boxes, basically the floating boxes, were cedar left over from Dusko's table job. So we took that, resawed that a little bit. Actually, Arturo planed them all down
until it broke into the planer
Arturo fashion. Yeah, so I'm going through a little bit of an issue with the bird Shelix cutter head that was just installed into the planer.
A little bit of an issue. Like,
yeah, a little. Listen, it's I've already contacted them. They're super nice. They're gonna send me another one.
yeah.
Obviously, what it was is there's a little helical gear on the side on one of the ends of this helical cutter head that drives the infeed and outfeed rollers. Right. So as the cutter,
Can I stop you right there? Is
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Just to clarify, it's not from like the bird
That yeah.
company. Is it from the planer itself, or
The gear? Yes, the
Yeah.
gear is from the planer itself. The gear
All right,
is
so
from
the
DeWalt.
DeWalt planer? Okay.
Yes. However, the gear needs to be threaded. The gear has a little stud on the end of it that actually gets threaded into the end of this cutter head. So the threads, the female threads on the end of the cutter head were what were messed up. So it wouldn't go all the way in.
Right.
Right. The gear, I really didn't remember how it sat in the other one. And then by the time I tried to tighten it up a little bit, and by that time the threads of the gear were jacked up. So then I couldn't even put the gear in the old cutter head to see how far it should go in. You know what I mean? So it was kind of a messed up situation from the beginning, stemming from the fact that there might have been a little burr left over from the machining process of making that cutter head. And I looked it up on the YouTubes, and I found out that it's not a common problem, but it's happened before. And when I mentioned it to the gentleman at Bird Tool, he's like, "Oh, crap, we're sorry we sent you one of those. It's like 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000, something like that." And I'm like, "All right, no big deal. Like, I'll send it back to you, and send me the other one." I want to ask him if I can just like keep all the carbides that are on it, and then he can send me another fresh set of carbides. That'd be cool. It's like 40 little carbide inserts. So just take them all off and then send it back.
That's right. Take them all. I mean, Odette said that.
I know. Yeah, that's an Odette thing.
That's an Odette move.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Odette seems to be doing well. I mean,
yeah.
I've been trying Odette for once in my life.
To be correct, if I'm not mistaken, I think he did do that.
No, he didn't.
Oh,
he just wanted. We were
right.
talking about it, and he's like, "Yeah, give me half of them," because he has the same planer and the same. He already did this upgrade. But whatever. All will be well quite soon. But Arturo,
that is such an expensive upgrade.
Yeah, it is.
How much were the ones for the DeWalt?
$385.
Yeah, they're like on sale right now.
So the rigid one for my planer is $426.
That's the normal price. They're usually over $400, but I guess Bird is having a sale on the DeWalt ones, and they're cheaper. They're not. I've never seen them this low.
Honestly, though, Chris, like, have you considered like your planer is fine? Like you even got it fixed recently at that tool place, right?
Yeah.
Your planer has nothing wrong with it. I don't know, the only way you could justify it would justify the cutter head upgrade is if you're going to be doing a lot of, and you have done a lot of like the end grain cutting boards, the small pieces where you get tear out from a straight knife. Dude, we did make a couple cuts actually.
Oh,
even with that little gear on the end, like not in all the way, it was making this grinding noise, but we still ran a couple boards through it anyway, just to see. We were that far. We wanted to see if it at least cut, and it did. And man, it is like card scraped when it comes out the other side. It is nice, very nice, and zero tear out.
It is one thing. It's beautiful, for sure. It gives you a nice cut, but do you really need it?
Look, man, go back to that, Arturo.
Sure.
For those of you that are listening instead of watching, Arturo pulled up this. This is on Amazon. The Bird Helix cutter head for the DW 735 is hold on, Arturo, make noise so you pop back up so I can read it.
Oh no,
there you go.
Oh.
There you go. 388.
Oh, for you, I'm sure.
For the undersized planer head. If you want the OEM size, which is a 1/16 of an inch larger, it's $429. There are so many benefits to getting the smaller version. The only downside of getting the smaller version is that your height setting will be a 30-second off, basically, which doesn't matter because I do it by eye anyway.
You start at the 132nd. I saw a video about that.
Yeah, that is a funny thing with the planers that I'm thinking about is that, we always are just skip planing everything.
Yeah.
Size, basically.
It doesn't even matter.
Like, I don't think I've ran it more than a 32nd of an inch at a time since I got it. Since the first week after I made that mistake once or twice. But yeah, like it's been just skip plane life for me and for you too. So yeah.
The only reason that they make a smaller diameter version is so that you don't have to take off every carbide tooth to slide the thing in to the bearings, or to the whatever, where the bearing seats. So like the OEM one, you've got to take all 40 or however many there are, got to take the cutter heads off, then slide the thing in, and then put each one of them back on, which is kind of a pain in the butt. Not kind of a pain in the butt, it's a huge pain in the butt. But the one that's a little bit smaller, this is the one that I got, is will slide right in.
Oh, so it makes it a pretty good deal if you get the, this one, the smaller one, and then you can go and get the digital planer readout. Yeah. And then you can fix your 1/32, it won't exist because you adjust it to that 1/32 off.
Oh yeah, you can zero it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and you're good to go. And
I don't know, man. I like Chris said, you guys have seen me run the planer. I'll raise the cutter head to where it's too high, like not even touching the wood, and I'll slide. If it's let's say it's a 6-foot piece of 2x6 or whatever, I'll slide the whole thing halfway in so it's balanced on the table of the planer, and I'll just frickin' lower it slowly until the infeed and outfeed rollers make contact, so the board starts moving, and then lower it a little more so the cutter head makes contact, and then let it go all the way through, bring it back, send it through again, so the first half gets cut. Like it's all by ear and eye. Like I don't ever use those measurements at all.
I do the same thing with my drum sander.
Okay, that makes sense.
I eyeball it, and then when I start hearing it, I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, if it starts bogging, you could, I don't know, man. You could.
Yeah, you could bog it down if you go too hard.
Of course you can.
But like I put a piece, put it really slow. That's pushing it in because remember the roller's on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So I slowly push it in, and I'll start lowering it until it actually makes contact.
Yeah, and then, so you don't get that taper, or you don't, the end of the board that didn't get sanded the way that you wanted it to get sanded. You just run it through again at the same height, and you're good.
And you're good. Yeah, that's how I do it. The planer, I haven't messed with it that much. So.
Yeah.
I'm
excited, man. I'm excited to actually, get the planer back together. I would love to do, in all the things that I've made and done, bunch of freaking thousands of projects over the last 8 years. Maybe not thousands, but tens. I've never done an end grain cutting board and never made one. And I'm interested to see. Yeah, never done an end grain cutting board, like the whole glue up and the checkerboard type of deal. Like, I'll give it a shot. Yeah,
it's fun to do it. I don't know. I had already a bad experience with putting an end grain cutting board in a planer because the blade got caught in the groove and just slammed that thing backwards. Yeah, so I never did that again. Nor with maple. Maple did it too.
Maple's hard maple is tough. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm interested to see how this Helix cutter head behaves in an end grain. Just taking, like Chris said, we're taking 30 seconds off, little tiny bites. Yeah. I think it'll be okay.
Oh, it's the only reason why I bought a drum sander. Was to do end grain.
Yeah,
because the drum sander doesn't care, and it'll drop it.
So let's moving right along. We've got pretty big announcement among Ask Me About My Woodsmans. Our boy Chris over here, Mr. Cowdog Craftworks, has just launched his official YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So those of you listening, go ahead and go like and subscribe. Well, watch it and then like and subscribe. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You just watch for yourself, then make your own decisions.
Yeah, I tell you what to do in all of them. So there's that.
Oh man!
But
you do the whole like and subscribe and the bell and whatever. Yeah,
yeah. The only person who doesn't do that is April Wilkerson, which I found funny when she was giving her talk at WorkbenchCon. She's like, I don't do that. I'm like, well, yeah, it's super easy when you have 500,000 subscribers or so.
Yeah,
they're there.
I think there is a point where you snowball. Like you've got a certain amount of people that just start talking, and then the word of mouth takes over. You don't have to tell people to like and subscribe your stuff. Yeah. And I honestly, like I said before, don't tell me what to do. I know what I like. If I'm watching it, I like it. Yes, I'm going to subscribe to it because I want more of it.
Well, I think the real purpose is, and I don't know. Well, it's funny that you say that because for me, like when I watch videos and they say that stuff, like I just sort of tune it out. And usually, for the longest time, like I didn't even subscribe to like Bob from I Like to Make Stuff. Like that's like I would purposely go and like look up his channel and then watch his videos unsubscribed without any notifications or anything, just kind of doing the long way around. So I mean, I get why they do it. I mean, just because there's idiots like me
there's
out
people
there
that are lazy and don't click the button.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I launched it last night, and it was funny because I was over at your house, and I was telling you, I was like, I'm probably going to launch it next week. And the reason that I thought I was going to launch it next week was because I didn't think I had all my keywords entered in on the videos that I'd already done. And as it turns out, I did. So there was that. Like, I don't have it done on the newest video. So I dropped 3, and then I'm going to have a 4th one out in about 2 weeks. I mean, it's already finished. It's just kind of chilling. So that's sitting in the marinator. And then
now is it for people that might be interested in content creation and stuff like that? Like what is the purpose of waiting? You know what I mean? If you've got it.
Well, the reason that people, from what I've heard, launch with a group of videos is so that way your content all refers to another video that you have. So, you have the ability in YouTube to do end cards, to do, what do you call them? Like different links to different videos, like throughout the video, right? So, a little screen will pop up and it'll have a link, and you can have, the person can say, oh yeah, like I like this cabinet that you made, and click on that while they're mid video on something else. So,
so it's like a spider web effect.
Do you get credit? Let's say I'm watching one of your videos, and like 3 minutes, it's a 15-minute video. 3 minutes in, you have a link to, like say in the background, you have your tool cabinet, and there's a link to the tool cabinet video, and I totally ditched the video that I was just watching, and I want to go watch your tool cabinet video instead. Do you still get credit, quote unquote, credit for me viewing that first video, or does it have to be a complete view? Do you know?
No. So YouTube actually takes great pains to track everything. So it'll tell you, watch time. It'll tell you when people tune out. It'll tell you, average watch time throughout the video, whether or not they're watching the whole thing, whether or not they're cutting out after 30 seconds. I mean, there's a lot of metrics behind it. So
and like fast forwarding to the part where like I'll do that in some of Colin Furs. I subscribe to Colin Furs because I think he's a mad genius. Sometimes if I don't have, or I don't want to, I always have time, but I don't want to have time. I'll just like watch, I'll see the thumbnail and I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna skip. It's a 10-minute video. I'm gonna skip to like 9 minutes and see what the thing looks like and what it does. I know how things go together. I've seen people weld before. I've seen cutting metal. I've seen this and that, wiring and whatnot. Like I know that stuff. I mean, not that I'm the greatest at any of it, but I'm saying like, we've all seen it before a million times, especially on YouTube. Yeah, like, just show me what you made, pal. Like, make me a bicycle clown.
No, that's actually. So last week I was in Chicago and I got to link up with Mike Clifford from Industrial Maker.
Yes.
And Mike and I had a bunch of talks about, YouTube and just all the little ins and outs. And he actually looked over my video for the nightstand, the steel shrouded nightstand. And he was kind of giving me some pointers as to like, hey, like, this is where you should be careful because you might lose, viewers if you're doing this, like at this point, kind of, right? And so one of the things he sort of brought up, he was like, front end load a lot of the beauty shots. He's like, because as much as people might bail after seeing the beauty shots, he's like, people really want to see that. He's like, that's, one of the biggest allures to some of these videos. He's like, there's so many YouTube viewers that just hop on and they'll look at your video for 30 seconds and then really click out because they're just like, hey, like I got what I wanted out of it. Like I wanted to see the beauty shots, and they're not going to stick around and wait till, the 7-8 minute mark when you're close to the end. So, or then they're fast forwarding through the whole thing. So he's like, you know what? Like, pay them off, basically. Like give them some beauty shots at the end, and if they want to stick around, then they stick around. But yeah, that was he actually was he's a great guy, but one of the interesting things that he said, he was like, just launch each video independently, but like 5 days apart. And I'm not sure. That was a weird comment to me, just because I was like, I'm curious if that was something that he did like straight off the bat, and like the way that things work is a little different now because he launched a couple of years ago. So anyway, most of these guys I've noticed, they sort of just talk about what worked for them, right? I mean, they're
sure, yeah, and it's all different, man. Like, you know, and a lot of the advice, you know, we've said, we keep referencing Workbench Con, but a lot of the advice, the common thread among all of this, you know, the big names, the April and Izzy and whatever, they're like, listen, screw what everybody tells you, like just freaking do it. And I'm like, but I'm listening to you. Obviously there are some people you should listen to, you know, you want to kind of mimic what is successful, but yes, I'm a huge proponent of basically just do, you know, hey, if you set your mind to something, forget what even people that are close to you that might, you know, you might hold their advice in high regard. Just like follow your heart, man. Freaking, you know, if it feels like you're gonna be successful doing something a certain way because you're passionate about it, do it. You know, not at the expense of you know, friendships and whatever else, but do it, man. Like go 100 miles an hour, go. Just press enter.
No, I'm pretty excited about it. And
yeah, man.
Honestly, like, I mean, you know, I think, hold on, let me tell you right now. I mean, granted, I launched last night. I want to say at like 6:30, something like that. And I think I'm up around, you know, 57, 60 subscribers already. So
hell yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was nice. Like, it was, you know, it's good to get, you know, the local community guys, like, you know, involved in everything. So
I know, I like how the local community guys follow you more than they follow our podcast.
Yeah, right. I know.
I think we got like 17 subscribers or something like that.
Oh man.
Well, no, I mean, you know, just okay. Let's say
Funny
again, like Matt Cremona, like started on YouTube. So it's kind of like if you start an Instagram, if you already have a huge following on YouTube, you basically have a built-in huge following on Instagram too. Like, hey, guys, all you have to say is 1 or 2 times, like, hey, be sure to go follow me on Instagram. I'm posting, you know, update shots about this project on Instagram, so you can get your daily dose of what's going on in the shop instead of weekly or whatever. Right. And then, of course, like the reason I subscribe to you is X, so of course I'm going to subscribe to your Instagram too. Like, you have built-in followings on different platforms. If you work hard on one, you can eventually have a big following on all of them.
Yeah, one of the interesting things that I heard, and I mean, I'm seeing it, is that, you know, your audience is different depending on what social platform you're on. I mean, entirely different, really.
Oh, absolutely.
Because,
yeah, Facebook.
Yeah, like, you know, I don't have shit on Facebook, really. I mean, I double post a lot of stuff because, you know, Instagram gives you that option to, you know, upload stuff to Facebook as well. But, like, I don't have nearly the same engagement on Facebook, and, you know, definitely don't have the same amount of followers on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
And YouTube is kind of a different animal in and of itself too. You know, like, it's a different algorithm. You're going to have different folks that are looking at it. You know, it's not necessarily going to be woodworking community folks. It's going to be literally anybody who stumbles across it that's interested in it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's going to take a little time to sort of get acclimated to that and sort of see how, you know, these folks interact and what they want, you know, et cetera. But it's a learning curve, you know, and I'm pretty excited about it. I'm pretty excited to tackle it on. So
I think Instagram, dude, you're going to do well, man. You're going to do well. You know, you're doing well already on Instagram. So like all those people that are, I think Instagram is more of a specific thing. Like you really have to kind of hone in on who you follow. So if there are people following you, they're genuinely interested in what you're doing. So that translates easy over to YouTube. And it's not, you know, always the other way around. Most of the time it's the other way around too. But then you go and put it on I want to say like more mainstream platform like Facebook, and then you get, you know, grandmas and stuff like commenting on your picture, like, oh, he's, you know, you look so handsome. Like, okay, grandma, thanks a lot. You know, like, I'm trying to sell stuff. Can you please not comment like that? Or Reddit. Like, I remember I listened to Wood Talk. Of the few episodes I've listened to Wood Talk, I'm trying to catch up. They're like, you post something on Reddit, it's like you get railed in the comments, like, oh, this, you know, people who are completely outside the craft are now, they have access to your stuff, and they're just like, why would you even do that? That's stupid. You know, like, okay, like, yes, you're right. It's stupid.
There's a lot of folks I know that use Reddit as to try to get like an initial hit, you know, so when they launch a video, they'll also post it on Reddit. So that way they get a heavy influx on the front end. What's interesting about Reddit is I hear that it doesn't really have longevity necessarily. So you'll get a lot of stuff on the front end. So say you premiere and then it's just flooding the gates, right? And then all of a sudden a week later, it's dead on Reddit. Like
you're dead.
Yeah. And, you know, conversely, then typically the hope is that gives you enough of a bump that the YouTube algorithm kind of takes over and starts recommending it to everybody because it's becoming a popular video. But all that Reddit traffic that was going there is also dead too. So, you know, it really depends on what your goal is. And I mean, Reddit's tough for me because I've never really used Reddit before. And one of the things I've heard is that on Reddit, you have to build up karma in order to be able to post links and things like that.
So I've been using Reddit. I've had Reddit for like 2 years. I like it. And
maybe I'll have to have you start posting my videos.
Yeah, there you go.
There's your karma right there.
Depending on the community, they'll like if they see it as because it gets annoying because everybody does it. So they'll like downvote it to non-existent. So you won't even get that influx anymore. Like it just won't exist because they'll see it as spam because you see it every day. Like on every thread you go on, like on the woodworking one, you go on there and it's just usually guys just posting little projects on there. You know, it's super cool. But then when someone posts a video, boom, that thing gets shoved all the way down. And then if it's all the way down, no one's gonna see it because no one's gonna go 3 pages deep.
Unless they're searching for you, which again comes from if I'm a fan of Chris's on Instagram, I'm gonna search for his stuff on the whole internet, you know.
Right. Like, and Reddit is let me see if I pull it up here. And Reddit's pretty cool because you can set up what you're interested in. Let's see. Let me pull up the woodworking one. You can actually save the ones you like. So let's say I like woodworking, obviously, right? Ooh, would you stick it there? And then you go, you know, down and you start seeing everything. But then you see, you could get 1,300 upvotes and all that. You know,
that's cool. Look at that table. That's awesome.
Yeah. So they copied the. I was reading about it. They copied that Ricklum. What is that thing called again? He has it here. Shit. The restoration hardware.
Oh yes.
You know, he made his own because the
restoration hardware is like cast iron wheel, but you can. That's cool. He made it out of wood.
He actually tagged it. You know, so you can actually Google it, or he linked it across. So yeah, so this is the restoration hardware one.
Oh, okay. Is that a coffee table?
Yeah, he has as a coffee table.
That looks like Jimmy DeResta's scissor lift barbecue.
Scissor lift barbecue, yes.
Yeah.
Which the ratios has to turn it about 100,000 times to get it to go up an inch. Yeah.
So then they made it themselves. So you see that, but then if you see somebody posting videos, they're gonna like downvote it to not existent because it's just spammy because everyone does it.
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful. Okay. Yeah, you gotta be careful where you put it and stuff like that. See, look, this guy.
That's what she said.
Got
it.
You see none of those videos. I see those videos that, you know, that Chris was saying, but you don't even have them anymore on the top because people will make them disappear. After enough downvotes, it'll just disappear.
Huh.
So you risk putting a video there.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. But yeah, like I said, it's a whole different world. You know, Instagram is something. I mean, I've been very committed to like Instagram and like building community through that and trying to, you know, network and create, you know, an authentic following through Instagram. And now it's like, all right, start all over again with a whole new platform.
Branch out. Or like, hey, guys, if you like what you see here, you know, check this out too.
It's just also so interesting to me to see like how many people don't even consume YouTube content that are in the woodworking space on Instagram too. You know,
so that's true.
That's a whole different ball game there.
I posted a couple videos on YouTube, but like very specific stuff, not any kind of what's the word I want to use? Like the quality of editing and I just put like not minimal effort, but like not even close to the amount of effort that Chris puts into his videos. I put them out there just like, and they're very niche videos. Like, hey, if you run a sawmill, which is like 5 people, and you know, you need to make your own loops of chain. Here's the little thing I bought from Harbor Freight to make a chain loop with, and then, you know, make it longer or shorter, whatever. But you know, they're I don't want to say they're doing well. They're like 100 views or something like that, 150 views now, and I posted it like 6 months ago. But that kind of stuff, you know, I don't want to do that. I don't, Chris wants to be, he set out from the beginning. He's like, my goal is to become a content creator, and he's doing that. Like, my goal is not to become a content creator. My goal is to, like, if I do something cool, yeah, I'll post I'll make a YouTube video about it. But my primary goal is to, build and sell stuff.
Yeah.
So,
but you just want to document it.
Yeah.
I'm on the same edge there. Like, I just want to document my stuff.
Yeah.
What I'm doing.
So when I get crushed by a log that rolls off the truck, then everybody will remember me.
But I mean, one of the things with wanting to be a content creator, and I don't think we ever really discussed on this podcast like why we do the things we do necessarily, but like,
there's no reason.
Yeah,
not at all.
But I know that for me personally, like, I was getting tired of documenting me doing the same thing over and over again. Like, that was kind of the thing. It was like, if I'm, at first I was kind of cutting board guy, right? Like, where I was making kind of cutting boards for people. And then I realized I was like, all right, like, how many end and edge grain cutting boards am I going to post on Instagram? I mean, then is that my thing? Like, and actually I remember Brian from Bike City Woodworks had said something to me, and he didn't mean it in like a, bad way or anything, but he kind of was like, oh, he's like, you're getting known for making cutting boards. And I was like, oh, hell nah. Like, I ain't trying to live that life, So as soon as like that kind of came out, I was like, okay, like, I want to be more creative. And the problem is that humans in general out in the Chip and Joanna Gaines world are not very creative as to what they want. Like, people aren't really outside the box as far as design. And, like we were talking the other day, like, people don't really care about the joinery in, our furniture and things like that. So, but I do, as somebody who makes stuff. And I mean, I'll get onto the whole hand cut dovetail thing in a second, but so, I mean, that was my whole impetus for trying to do this, was I wanted to keep things interesting, and really it's very selfish because I wanted to keep things interesting for me. Like, I wanted to be more creative. I wanted to get more joy out of this. And the way I figured that I could do that is by continuously mixing it up. So,
yes. I'm glad you said that, man. It's about you. It's like the opposite of what in Joe Dirt, man. Like, it's not what you like; it's the consumer. But it is about you, man, because people will see that you're genuinely passionate about what you're doing, and that's the infectious thing. That's the reason why people subscribe. That's the reason why people follow you, is because they see a guy that really loves what he's doing, and people don't want to see fake. And there's a lot of fake. There's a whole ton of fake out there. Like, oh, here's people will change what they like because everybody else likes it, or it does well. It gets a lot of likes. So I'm gonna like change what my taste in furniture because this kind of stuff gets more likes. No, sorry, dude. Like, I'm not gonna change my taste. I'm gonna do what I like, and I'm gonna build a genuine following. Selfishly.
Yes.
Well, exactly. It's not really selfishly. I mean, it's just, thinking of you. Just do you instead of what everyone else is doing. And it's frustrating. You see the same video from like 50 different people. It's like, come on. Like, you guys don't make anything else? You guys just copy each other? You guys have a podcast together, or 50 people, and just...
Yeah, like, that's, yeah.
But still, it becomes that. And then you see all your recommendation videos, and they're all the same.
You can edit that one out, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's too much work. I'll leave it.
Yeah, and this is actually going to bring me on an interesting conversation that I had with an individual who I'm not going to name, their Instagram handle or anything, but essentially this person bought some followers. I think it was kind of an inadvertent thing. Who knows? I don't know. He gave, some sort of excuse or whatever. And he was telling me, and he was actually apologizing to me that he bought followers, which I thought was a very confusing
it's a guilt
thing. Guilty, But I guess, like, there were some folks out there, bigger accounts in the Instagram world that sort of caught wind that he did this, and they're the ones who actually like sort of guilted him into feeling this way. And he was feeling really bad, and like, he like was apologizing. I was like, dude, like, what are you apologizing to me for? I was like, I don't care. And I was like, like, is it a greater issue in the woodworking community as far as building a genuine following and making sure that we're keeping it for us, not really for the t-shirt accounts and all that? And I have been going on a whole crusade against those recently.
Yes, spam.
Yeah,
spam them.
But you know, I was like, dude, I was like, I don't give a shit. I was like, just go out there and make cool shit, you know?
Yes.
And like one of the things I actually told him too, I was like, listen, I was like, a lot of these accounts that are giving you shit, you know, these big accounts that have, you know, 15, 20, 30,000, you know, followers or whatever, is like, yeah, like they're organic in the sense that they have built this following for a long time and they take a lot of pride in it. It's like, but those dudes don't make anything, you know, like they're sitting there, you know, with their face in their phone, you know, telling me a happy Tuesday when like, you know, like what have you built? Like, show me something that you've actually made that's cool in the last like 6 months, you know, like, and he really took that to heart. He was like, oh, thanks, dude. And, you know, like, I took a lot of joy in sort of like helping this guy out a little bit. And I mean, I wasn't like, oh, don't do it again.
You guys made out.
Yeah, don't do it again. But,
it doesn't,
you know,
but it doesn't bother anybody. Like what? Like
like I mean,
worry about your own crap. What does it matter?
Does it? Like it's a weird situation, right? Because
if you like his stuff, you follow.
Yeah.
No matter how many followers he has.
Exactly. Damn, I mean, know, and I kind of brought up another point too. I was like, listen, I was like, you know, you not having a genuine following doesn't affect them. And frankly, it doesn't really, it does affect you in the sense that like, if your goal is to work with brands and all that stuff, like, you know, they're going to ask you for your insights and you're going to have to show them that you have, you know, 70,000 followers in, you know, Turkmenistan or something, like, you know, that aren't going to buy their fucking tools. So like, you know, you're not doing yourself any favors. So, you know, what does it matter to, you know, X, Y, and Z maker out there that hasn't actually made anything? So I was basically just telling this guy, I was like, you know, keep yourself motivated, make cool shit, have fun doing it. Like, you know, that's why we're here. Right. And yeah. So, but it was a very weird conversation in the sense that I could not believe that folks were like trying to like guilt him into feeling a certain type of way about it. And, you know, he was very genuine. It was just like, dude, you know, I'm sorry. I was like, but listen, I was like, why apologize? Like,
no apologies. No,
don't apologize. Go make cool shit. And, you know,
there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Hate that.
So, yeah.
Just hate people like that. Like, it's fucking mind your own business, man.
Whatever
he's doing is not.
Oh man, come on, man. You don't have to yell at everybody like that.
No, but it can be frustrating when people. Well, it's like it will go back to like the whole conversation about Dusko and the Malecki thing.
Oh God.
No, but it goes back to it. Oh, because you have so many followers, automatically you're a pro.
Yeah.
Or you're an expert, and that doesn't work like that. It doesn't exist. It's like going to a celebrity, and then if they tell you buy this car, they're automatically a professional just because they have X amount of followers. No.
Yeah, that's human nature, though, man. Like everybody, you know,
it's retarded.
The herding theory. Like, oh, what are all those people doing over there? Oh, I got to go there too. Like,
you know, it's an interesting.
You're doing it wrong. Blah 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 blah. No, man.
Like a guy like Malecki, right, where he is, you know, at whatever point he's at in his woodworking journey, his content creation journey, etc. You know, one of the funny things I'm thinking about right this second, I hadn't had this thought previously, is that you know, YouTube content is evergreen, right? Like until YouTube goes down. But like, I mean, it's there. It's not like Instagram where it goes on and then in a week it's dead, if that.
Yeah.
I mean, usually 48 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what PJ, maybe your thought would be is, let's say in 10 years, he's still doing this and he's gained X amount of expertise and wherewithal and whatever, and his thoughts are still consistent with, you know, his thoughts today.
That would be awesome. Then
like how that like sort of matches up, right? Because like then, you know, when somebody watches that 10-year-old video or something, they're like, oh yeah, like, you know, he is an expert, but it's
he was right,
but it's like late. Like, I don't know, like it's a fun
and there's an extra fold into this whole conundrum, I guess you could call it, into this situation. That fold or variable being that all this information that people are experts on is already out there on YouTube. So you can literally spend a year watching
aggregate content
and studying and practicing and whatever. And then you come up with all these obscure little tips. Oh, pro tip this and pro tip that. Like, yeah, dude, that's a great idea. But, you know, you've been doing it for a year, 2 years, 3 years at the very most 3 years you've been doing this. Don't turn around and tell me specifically, who's, you know, has been doing it for 8 years, which doesn't make me an expert. I don't claim to be, but it's almost like, yeah, I know what you're doing. And, you can't ever assume that everybody knows exactly what you know, or you can't assume that everybody's watched the same YouTube videos that you've watched to pick up all these little tips and stuff. So thank you for kind of forwarding the information, but that's all you're doing is forwarding the information. You're not you're not the creator.
Expert.
Yeah.
But also, and maybe playing devil's advocate here a little bit, like, isn't all the information that we have in this space just forwarded, aggregated information from, whether it be from a written article, from a library, from somebody else's practical experience? Like, instead of like, let's say, I mean, I've had situations where, like, say, like, I've discovered something, right? And I'm air quoting discovered, right? But it turns out that, that's been
Simpsons did it. Yeah.
Yeah, like someone else has discovered that too.
Yeah.
You like just discovered it though.
I mean, but does that make it any more genuine? I mean, I guess like it gives me a frame of reference. It's like, okay, like I've made that mistake before, so now I know how to not make that mistake. Mm-hmm. But like I could have also perhaps avoided making that mistake had I done some actual research and realized that somebody else made that mistake before me.
Right.
It's a weird thing.
That's my role in your life right now, actually.
Yeah.
I taught PJ how to use that domino the other day. So
that's true. That's true.
But I told him my little tips and tricks to using it, and it's not because I saw it on a video. It's actually because what I went through. It might be in a video.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not saying no. It probably is in a video, but then all the little tips and tricks are from me using it.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes from Izzy Swan's class that we sat in on, because I only paid attention to a little bit of it because I was brutally hungover and was like had cold sweats at 4:00 in the afternoon. But he had said something about how nothing is original. He's like, the way he gets his inspiration is he goes to a library and he starts cracking open all the books and stuff that people think is forgotten. And he's like, dude, I just take that information and I either expand upon it or I just aggregate it. Things that people thought were like completely original ideas, like using a table saw as a lathe. He's like, people have been doing that for God knows how many years, like 75 years. He's like, I just took it and I made it popular because I had a platform to do so.
Yeah, and a drill, a battery powered drill, which is original. So exactly. Like he took, and maybe that's his benefit, right? Is that he takes something small and he like adds something on it to sort of make it his own a little bit. But I don't know. Like I have a weird sort of, how do I put it? I have mixed feelings about the aggregation of content like that, because also as an attorney, weirdly enough, like I've never done anything new. Somebody gives, somebody is like, like let me do a motion, and then I'm like, okay, provide me with a template, to write off of, and I'll create something that's my own, right? Like I'm constantly working off of other people's shit all the time. Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I always have very mixed feelings about it, but at the same time, I do get that idea where it's like, hey, like, if you were claiming personally to be an expert, and maybe you're not, I don't know. Like some people don't. Like some people will sort of portray themselves as an expert without actually claiming they are an expert.
That's the root. That's a big part of it, man. That's the root of it right there. It's like you get on a video, you get all cocky, and you're like, oh, well, I do this and I do that. Like, okay, dude. Well, me too.
And it's a little bit of forget it. Get out of here, man.
Claim.
If you got to claim it yourself, then that's the problem. Because only you see it, or only you think it.
Yeah,
that's your problem. So I went through, let's say, Meleki's, Instagram real quick. And then I digested how many likes he gets out of 170,000 people that follow him. He only gets like 2,000 or 3,000 likes per post.
Oh,
I'm telling me, so 1% of your following is the only thing that likes your stuff.
Yeah.
Damn, it's a little rough there, buddy. To say the least. And then now you're a leading expert because you say you are.
Well, I mean, I personally haven't really seen him say that he's an expert or heard him say that.
No, but he insinuates a lot that
like with the 5-part video series and whatnot.
Yeah, like, no, man.
But okay, and honestly, here's another bit of information to chew on for all of us. The comments are, if you read any of comments, and forget about John Malecki. We're not talking about him anymore. But like, you read the first couple comments on somebody's post, which is, again, forwarding someone else's information or a collective bit of information. the first couple comments could be like, "Oh my God, you're so smart. You know, you're good at everything. Like you're this and that." It's like pumping him or her up. Like the thing that, you know, obviously this might be all rooted in a little bit of jealousy on my part, but like, you know, when people give credit. People give credit to the person that posted something solely based on the fact that they posted it. It's like, oh my.
No.
Like they Googled it,
Yeah.
and then they did it, and then they posted about it. Like that's how they did it. You know, like why are you putting them up on this pedestal, thinking that, you know, they're amazing and they figured all this stuff out and they're so great at everything? Like, no, dude, you Googled it and you practiced it. Like kudos to you for putting in some time and practicing something, but it's not impossible. I really feel like the people that put those types of comments are just such small-minded people. Like, oh, I could never do something like that. Like, no, dude, you totally can. You can do something like that. You can literally Google it just like they did, practice it, work with somebody, get some tools, and do it. Like, it's totally possible, but people make it seem like it's freaking Mount Everest.
No, there's a great book about that, actually. It's called Mindset by Carol Dweck. She is some sort of doctor of something. I don't know.
I can't read.
Yeah, but actually the coach of the Miami Heat during the championship runs with LeBron would hand that out to all the players and new players every year. Like, so, and it was essentially this idea of if you only think that you are as good as you're ever going to get, then that's exactly, you know, where you're going to be. You know, if you don't have that growth mindset where, you know, you feel as though you can become better at things and you can change essentially your path and what you're trying to do, then, you know, you're going to be stuck. Like, so, I mean, that was one of the biggest things. And I mean, I read that book probably 5 or 6 years ago because I'm a huge basketball fan and I wanted to, you know, I guess be an NBA champion.
Yeah.
But,
You never know.
There's also Napoleon Hill, with Think and Grow Rich. I never read the book, but there's a bunch of audio. It's like on YouTube. Again, there's like, you know, just one image, but you listen to the audio for 45 minutes. The guy's name is Napoleon Hill, and it's basically that. It's like you become what you think about. You know, if you just keep on thinking the same thing all the time, that's what you're going to become. You're going to stay the same. But if you start like putting the pieces together and thinking about making growth and getting better at something and starting this business or learning that skill, you start thinking that way. And before you know it, it's like, oh, holy crap, you know, I'm actually doing it. Yeah, I keep going, you know?
Right, don't stop. Don't stop, man.
That's my 2 cents. But fellas, I guess, you know, in the interest of time, or you know, not beating a dead horse about motivation and stuff, but everyone said their piece for the week.
Yeah, I got Brian from Ronan Witch showing up in like 10 minutes.
Oh, so, yeah, dude, we gotta go. Oh my goodness. Okay, cool. Yeah, I gotta go finish cleaning up the shop. I started putting stuff away so that you guys aren't as embarrassed as I am about my.
It's all right. Take your time because I gotta run those sheets of plywood down to Arturo anyway.
Yeah, okay. I'm a mess, so it doesn't.
Well, that doesn't change at all.
Never will.
All right, wrap it up.
Well, here we go. So thanks everyone for listening, following along with us as we progressively, weekly get worse at this. Be sure to follow us all on the social medias. We've got Arturo is the Chop Master. We've got Chris is Cowdog Craftworks, and we've got myself, the Evolution of Tables, PJ_Fetcher. If you have any topics that you'd like us to discuss on next week's podcast, email us at askmeaboutmywood@gmail.com. Be sure to rate this podcast on YouTube or your podcast platform of choice. And thanks a lot, guys. Remember that lumber selection is very important.
It sure is. And follow our boy Chris on his YouTube journey.
Oh, that's right. Yes, make sure.
Yes,
subscribe,
Cowdog Craftworks.
Hit the bell.
Cowdog Craftworks. Like it is on everything else.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
See you guys in a few.
All right. Yeah. Later.
Bye.